awkward. Neek, tell me something awesome you saw this weekend in the NFL.
Oh, the catch by Cole Kmet. Like, the Bears didn't win this game, and they left with Fields getting a little injured. But this was an outstanding one-handed grab and getting hit in the hip like that. It was really impressive. You don't want to go past this game without getting a better look at this. Oh, gosh, that's tough.
Spectacular catch. Kmet has been one of the more reliable weapons that Fields has had in his second half strong performance. Let's go next to Mike T. Mike T, that was awesome. Give me something awful.
Greeny, this one's for you. This is an awful miss by the officials. Look, great punt return here by Marcus Jones. But coming up, Mack Wilson, number 30, block in the back. You can't miss that call. Look, they probably win the game on a field goal, but that is an awful miss by the officials, sealing the Jet loss.
Now, it's just not making me feel better, but you're right. There were so few seconds left, they would have just kicked a field goal, but it was windy. It's certainly not impossible that they would have missed it. All right, that's awesome and awful. How about Graz? Give me something awkward.
Well, Zach Wilson, who is considerably more responsible for the Jets' loss than the officials were, had an opportunity in his post-game news conference. They said, "Are you letting your defense down with your play?" And he said, "No, that's a layup, Zach. You say yes, and you go back in the locker room owning your role in the problems." And I imagine it was pretty awkward for him to go back in there and face his defensive teammates after that performance and that comment.
Well, look, I mean, Zach Wilson has become the conversation piece around the entire National Football League for all the wrong reasons. The point that Graz is making, he refused to take real accountability for his performance, and then that led to a long day of speculation yesterday, at the end of which Robert Saleh came out and refused to say he's going to be the starting quarterback. Listen.
I'm going to get to the tape and just evaluate everything, and I'll leave it at that. We're keeping everything on the table over the next couple of days.
So you're not committing to Zach as your starter for Sunday?
Not right now, not until I'm done evaluating everything.
Important to know, that's the first time he has said that. He has been steadfastly behind the young quarterback through whatever have been the ups and downs of his previous career. Mike T, I will start with you. It is as directly as I can ask the question. Should the Gents bench Zach Wilson?
1,000% yes. It's an absolute no-brainer. This is an opportunity for Robert Saleh to establish himself as a credible NFL head coach. We live in a world of accountability. Players are fine if they're late, they don't wait the right amount of weight. And when you play this way, you can't go out there and let him be your starter. He hasn't earned the right. Candidly, he should be the third stringer. Mike White and Joe Flacco should battle it out. If you're going to hold other players accountable, it starts with your quarterback. He is not playing good enough. When you can't complete a pass behind the line of scrimmage, you don't deserve to play.
Yesterday, something I didn't mention is that Robert Saleh was 2 hours late for his normal media availability before he came out and said that. As one who has been behind those closed doors, what does that suggest to you?
It means he's being with the owner and the general manager, and they're making huge organizational decisions. And here's why. Mondays is usually about with the players, watching the film, getting with your doctors, making sure that you have the right amount of players, bringing people in for a workout. When you're 2 hours behind, it's because you're making consequential decisions. And when Robert Saleh, Greeny, as you said, changes courses, that's because he's met with the owner, he's met with the GM, and they're probably going to make a change at the quarterback position.
It suggests to me, and I'm not an insider, people sometimes, because they associate me with the Jets, they think I know things that are going on inside the building. I do not.
In the meeting with the
I'm not in the meeting, and I don't have sources in the meeting. But the only thing I can assume is that the Jet, because Saleh has been so steadfastly behind Zach Wilson, that his inclination was to stay that way, and then as the day went on, he realized for whatever reason that he just cannot. And the likeliest reason for that, I don't know what the owner thinks, I don't know what the general manager thinks, but I have to assume the locker room, Dominique, is the problem right now. There were reports that a lot of the players, particularly on the defense, were frustrated with Zach Wilson's play and then his answers. How about the locker room component in all of this, Neek?
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. They could care less about the fans or anyone else. It's making sure that you have the locker room. And I think leadership from the head coach's position is a lot about creating buy-in. Because while you have a lot of power, you don't have that much control. And tomorrow, Wednesday, is the first day of preparation for all the players for next week's game. And you need them to be locked in and confident and bought in. And the only way I see, there's a couple ways that I could see them creating that buy-in. One is with a quarterback change. And two is with some sort of major event that they bring Zach in, and maybe they do that today. Robert Saleh talks to Zach and finds out where his head is at, and Zach needs to address the entire team on Wednesday morning, first thing in the morning, before the first meeting, and take full responsibility, and then follow that action with all the stuff that you say you want to see from a player, where he has to be the first guy in, last guy out, doing extra work, and make sure the team is aware that he knows and they all know that he's playing for his career right now. And that type of like emotional statement to start the week can create the buy-in. If Zach's head is not there, then you got to sit him on the bench and bring in somebody else. Otherwise, the rest of the team is not going to be bought in for the week, and you'll get a lackluster performance from everyone.
The problem with playing Zach Wilson this week, the second he has an incomplete pass in MetLife, he will deal with boos that he's never heard of before.
That's not
It'll be like a road game.
The fans are not going to be pretty this week either. What do you think of it all, Graz?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're going to do. I think there's a possibility they do what Dominique's talking about, is present to Zach Wilson, here's the situation, here are the consequences, and see how he handles it. And then maybe give him another week where he's not facing the Patriots, who are clearly a team that he can't handle. So I think that's a possibility. The thing this reminds me of, Greeny, when I covered the Giants, they put players on conference calls with the media every Monday. Mm-hmm. And every week that they lost, Eli Manning was one of those players. And every week that they won, he wasn't. He wanted somebody else to go out. So that was, to me, that was like subtle accountability. Like, if we lose, I am the quarterback, I'm the highest paid guy, I'm going to be the one taking these questions. I feel like that's the kind of example that goes a long way if a young quarterback's looking at how to conduct himself.
That's such a well-made point, and there is no evidence whatsoever that Zach Wilson gets that. And to the point that Dominique was making about how he needs to express to his teammates that he realizes he's playing for his life right now, professionally speaking, there has been nothing in any of his behavior to this point that suggests he understands that. Nick, really quickly, go ahead.
It won't take much. Like, the guys know that. They all experience that same thing. If he delivers, and I know I'm not one to say that speeches mean a whole bunch, but if he delivers an impassioned speech, when those boos come down, the guys will galvanize around him. They want him to succeed. They don't dislike him. They want to be on his side. But it's hard to be on his side when, after you get your ass kicked, he goes on the camera and is like, no, it's not on me. He needs to walk in and say, it's on me. And I know that I am on the verge of being a bust. And I need this game this week. I'm going to do everything I can to make this team succeed. And I hope you can do the same thing for me. And then you go into the week where guys are bought in.
All right, we will see. We'll have more on this as we go. We'll see if the Jets announce some sort of decision today. We'll make some phone calls as we continue. In the meantime, on we go. And coming up next, is it possible that these two legends, Brady and Rodgers, could end up playing somewhere else next season? In fact, it borderline feels likely. We'll talk about it. And then we got sneaky hembo time for Graz. Here we go. Michigan and Ohio State will play for the 12th time with both teams ranked in the top 5. What is the second most common top 5 matchup ever? The answer is next.